my next question as you were talking about Ilya, because I know that that's a topic that we've talked about and you're passionate about.
Well, in many of my studies, especially of mythology, the archetype of the man's warrior is the warrior, right? Quote unquote. But the tools of the male warriors are the club and the short spear. I mean, the short sword. And there is kind of a weird male need to see the life of the opponent escape. It's kind of it's a moment. And for that, males are willing to die, willing to engage in that fight. But it's got to be a close combat fight. The archetype of the woman warrior, the women warrior is completely different. It's the Amazon. And the Amazon fights with two specific weapons. One is the bow and arrow, which is the precision. And the other one is the javelin, the short javelin, also at a distance. But both are types. I don't know if you've done a lot of comparative religion studies, but types are very interesting in terms of unconscious symbols. Both are types of intellectual warfare. And it has been my pet peeve to see women trial lawyers being trained as males, because it's not just not pretty, it's dysfunctional. I wish we male trial lawyers learned how to fight with the tools of intellectual warfare a lot more. I don't know if you remember the Lord of the Rings. The guy was all white, albino, and he could shoot arrows. Or more recently in Marvel, the fellow that shoots arrows. And we have to strike at the heart of the lies to unravel the bullshit that insurance companies put together. We should learn from women trial lawyers as opposed to try to erase their functioning and teach them how to fight at close combat in cross-examination. Megan Richmond, a practitioner out of Southern California, she at Trial Lawyers College, I saw her do one of the best cross-examinations ever. And she never raised her voice, but it was when I sat there and I looked at that, I said, I need to have to learn how to do that. And most of my cross-examinations have become very respectful of the defense expert, and they know they're dead by the time I'm done with them. So yeah. Trial lawyers or trial structures, a big, huge drive that I have right now is to connect with Society of Women Trial Lawyers, connect with women trial lawyers in order to have ILIA create a movement within trial structure, enhancing the power and the strength of women lawyers for all of it. I know I have concentrated most of my life in single event cases, but mass tort is definitely ready for women to take over.
So I've been around now a decade, which is crazy. Don't know how that happened. And
wait until you look back at 3 decades or 4 and you go like, what happened?
I'm sure I will be sitting here one day saying just that. But in the 10 years that I have been around seeing this particular space, women really are powerful when they are in control of the case and of themselves, and they believe in themselves. But many women, I think, are faced. I think I was listening to a guy by the name of Jordan Peterson, and he talks about women in different professions. And he says it's really tough for a woman to be a lawyer. And the reason for that is because obviously a woman typically speaking, wants a career, also wants a family. And being a wife and being a mother and trying to compete with law partners who are in the office more than you, that have more time to spend on their craft, is difficult. So you're always feeling like you're left behind. And at some point, women don't even want to be partners because of the responsibilities and the burdens and the time that they're away from their families. And I thought, that's quite interesting because it's easy to say it's a male dominated industry, which it is. And I have met some incredibly talented women that are just, they slay dragons in the courtroom. But those women typically aren't married and don't have children. Typically, I am thinking of about 3 or 4. Or some that will just get married much later in life and have kids much, much later in life once their career has been established. So I'm curious to know from you, how much do you think there is this gender, conflict in the sense that there's more pressure on women to be, again, nurturers at home versus the fact that it's a patriarch, type system, and men just simply want to dominate because that's all they know how to do. Like, how much of that you think is true?
Well, I believe that the functioning of the male is different than the function of the female. The male is angular, is rule-based, is results-oriented. The function of the feminine is more nurturing, is relationships oriented. Mm-hmm. But I think that Dr. Peterson, I'm familiar with his work, is missing something that is really important. The hours in the office, the advancement, the learning, that's all because of 1800s type of organization of businesses, where women had absolutely no say-so on how to organize things. In today's society, especially in the world of social media, but in the world of our training, I don't see a reason why you cannot collaborate in a nano type of association where you associate for a purpose. Actually, Rosanna wrote her thesis on her LLM that the future of organizations would be specific for one task association and then dissolution. What women trial lawyers bring is extreme talent and results oriented based upon relationships, not upon results.
Right.
And so I while what Dr. Peterson says is accurate today, it's based upon a 200-year-old organization of time and schedules. What if a partnership is of a, and you have the Athea women trial lawyers, you have Deborah Chang, Candace Klein in California. They're organized, yes, they are, but they're all women. Yeah. So I just don't agree with the fact that it is a dominated place. I think is a short-sighted organization where males feel much more comfortable getting together at 4 o'clock and grabbing a drink than to go and pick up their kids and watch their the soccer game. So it's not very conducive to ask me about whether males are better, because I don't think we are. I think
not better. No. I didn't mean it like that. I think men are typically, at least men who are seeking to advance themselves in their professions and that are driven and hungry, they will dedicate their life to being at the top.
Right.
And nothing gets in the way, right? Like children, marriage. The thing is, if they've got to be at the office for 60 hours a week, they're at the office for 60 hours a week, right? I don't think a woman can do, or I mean, I'm sure a woman can, but I don't think a woman wants to do that. And it's not a matter of ability. It's
right.
a matter of priorities, right, that you ultimately decide to just say, you know what, I don't want that. That doesn't do anything for me. I want to be home with my kids more.
And what I'm saying, Mirena, is show me the man who's at the office 80 hours, 90 hours a week. Okay, so that's what it requires. I was there.
Yeah.
And I'll show you a man who has a loving partner, who's at home taking care of everything that he doesn't. Show me a guy that says that he is at the office 60 hours a week with as a single father, and I'll show you a catastrophe. So again, I think we're working, and I'm a child of the early '60s. I was born in '62, so still that time was in flux, right? My oldest girls call me old of heart, in the sense that I'm a boomer, but it burns me to see so much talent
Yeah.
wasted. Okay, so you can't have one person do 60 hours a week, but you can have two women associate trial lawyers put in 25, and they'll be worth 150 of those hours, because I put in the 80 hours, and a lot of those hours are BS. They're not actually work.
I don't believe that, but okay.
So I mean, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to get too, but I just believe that it is time that we.
I agree 100%. I really think that for me, like I've told you, I do a lot of work in mass torts, um, and I know some badass trial lawyer women that are getting, $100 million verdicts. Like it's nothing. And in leadership and just kicking ass. And I'm inspired by each and every one of them. And I think there is room for more.
Yes.
There is room for minorities. There is room for more women. And you know what? If you want it, you can have it.